Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while, but I am back and I want to start a little series on how I make my foam latex prosthetics. You can see my faces on the wall behind me. I feel like I just rambled way too much. Let's back it up. Let's rewind a little bit. So first things first, to make a prosthetic, you need something to sculpt onto. You can do flat molds, depending on whatever you're trying to make. You can do a flat mold if you want. You can sculpt onto a flat surface, like a tile or something. You're gonna need a cast or something to sculpt onto, and you're gonna need to sculpt your piece that you want. We just sculpted this witch face on my face cast. So it's my face under here, and we sculpted on top. Now, the clay that I like to use is sulfur-free plastiline. I use the brand Chavant. I order all of my FX supplies through Friends Beauty, and I got the clay from there as well. Chavant, I use medium. Some people prefer hard. I don't think my weak little hands could do hard. Medium is kind of perfect for me. I feel like I can knock it and not mess it up. As where soft, you can easily sort of knock it and to mush it in. It's pretty hard, the medium. That's what I use. You can use whatever works best for you. I'm gonna put a video sped up of me sculpting this witch, and I'll try to talk you through how I do it. With sculpting, I mean, you just kind of have to use your artistic ability and I guess wing it. There's a lot of tutorials. If you're looking for how to create certain textures, look up that specific texture, and there's bound to be some sort of tutorial on how to get that. That's what I always did. If I was kind of stumped, I couldn't really figure out how to get this particular texture or something, I would just look it up. So that's pretty much what I do. So I'm gonna go ahead and, not go ahead and show you that. So before I get into the video of sculpting this and kind of talking you through that, I'm going to talk about some tools. So to start out, I actually purchased like a basic sculpting tool set with these little guys. I rarely use them, but sometimes, you know, certain ones will come in handy if I need to cut in to something. I actually use this one a lot to like just cut clay off of the block. Homemade tools are my favorite, and I'm about to show you the most janky one, but I've used it so much, and I actually just made a few more. I'm trying to pull them all out right now. I made a few more that I actually used on the witch, and I'm obsessed with the new ones that I made, and literally it was stuff I had lying around. I could have sworn I had more. Oh, they're already out. Just kidding. Okay, so the first tool that I made on my own, because none of the tools that I had were doing what I wanted them to do, I had a round safety pin that came on, I think it was a pair of jeans, and it was literally a circle, and then the bottom part was like a safety pin. You know what I mean? I took the rounded bit and I put it on the outside, and I taped the bottom safety pin bit to a wooden dowel. It's very loose, it comes out all the time, but it works. So that's like not the way to do it, but it's what you can do it. If you just have stuff laying around, you can do it that way. I bought a set, and I have already changed all of them because I didn't use them. Hobby Lobby sold these silicone paintbrushes, and they have different little tips on them, and I thought, oh, how cool, I could probably use that with clay and it would like be neat, because I've seen like silicone tools used, but these were super flimsy because they were paintbrushes and they didn't do what I needed them to do, so I didn't use them. They just sat in here forever. I decided, let's see, what did I have first? I cut up a big, huge safety pin and twisted the metal. Be very careful when doing this. I would suggest just getting some wire or something, but this is what I had around the house. And I took one of the silicone paintbrushes, pulled the silicone bit out, and I shoved my little safety pin stuff into there. And so that was one that I made with the safety pin. And then I made a smaller one with the safety pin. Now these are pretty thick, so they kind of like smooth the clay. Then I took a sewing pin, just like the little pins that you pin clothing together. I took that and bent it in half with some pliers and shoved that in here too. Oh, and on these two, I didn't need to on this one. I didn't need to on this one, but on these two, I used a little bit of epoxy that I had to keep it in there so it wouldn't come out because I couldn't get it tight enough. But you just kind of clamp that around it. But that's what I did. And these two are just some wire that I had, and I made a little bit of a bigger thing like that, like the sewing pin, and then a round one. Honestly, this is to replace this guy because he's about done for with that. Homemade tools are usually the best, and you will use them the most because you're I can't do words today. Homemade tools will be your best friend. There's a lot of videos here on YouTube as well for how to make homemade sculpting tools. If you don't like my weirdo ideas, just find someone else's. Okay, so now that we have talked about tools, I'm going to go ahead and show you my video sculpting our witch. I think she's pretty cool. I'm probably only going to share the face with you guys as far as the tutorial on how to make foam latex prosthetics, but for our witch, we are going to make I'm turning red because I keep scratching my neck. Okay, oh, we're gonna make a neck. So I'm actually gonna cast my neck this evening, and I'm gonna sculpt an old wrinkly neck to go with our creepy witch, and I think we're gonna do some hands and some ears as well. I'll try to do some casting tutorials for you. I'll have to get some help. I'm gonna go ahead and show you that video, and let's talk about our process for sculpting our witch face now. Okay, this is future me, and that intro was absolutely ridiculous, and I apologize for that, but I feel like you still needed that information. It was just like, wow, you are droning on and taking forever to get this out. Anyway, my apologies. We're back. This is future me here, watching myself be an idiot on an intro. So I cleaned off my face cast. That was from our last piece. I usually pre-paint them while they're on my face cast. So that's what that was, a little bit of paint. I like to work on a clean cast, so I cleaned it off with a little alcohol, and then I actually rubbed a little bit of Vaseline on there as well, just to make sure the surface wasn't too dry. Just something that I like to do. I don't know if it's 100% necessary, but I like to do it for demolding purposes. If you put too much, the clay won't stick and it'll slide around, so just be careful. So what you're seeing me do is blocking out. I just start with little pieces of clay, rolled up sausages, little, pieces to get the basic form that I want. And I really just build that up. Again, it kind of comes with practice and just kind of learning as you go, looking up certain things that you just don't know how to do. I'm not an expert sculptor yet, so I don't have a whole lot of information that's not already out there. But I am gonna, I guess, tell you what I'm doing, so that's what I'm doing. I build up the cheeks. I wanted this witch to look very, very old, so I tried to make her as wrinkly and saggy as possible. I went for a classic witch nose, but I kept it more realistic rather than like this huge hooked nose. I tried to make it very dramatic and hooked, but still on the normal, natural, just creepy old lady side of things, you know what I mean? I wanted her to have some ridiculous eye wrinkles and bags, and I'm slowly building up the form. For the chin, I kept it pretty witchy as well, bringing it out forward. I'll show you the profile at some point on here when I'm probably at the end when I'm showing it off, but the chin kind of goes out forward, and it's kind of got a little bit of a dent in the middle. That's kind of the look that I was going for with that, and I just keep building and building and building up the clay in the shapes that I want. sculpting, especially when you're first starting out, it takes a lot of time and patience and just kind of learning. I added a mole on the nose. I think that was about to show. Did I show the mole? Anyway, you get your basic shape down that you're wanting, and you start to refine that. You'll take away clay, you'll add clay, you just keep pushing it. I'm using this wooden tool here to kind of smooth all of those separate kind of sausages together to make it blend. It takes a lot of back and forth. You're going to blend those, you're going to scoop out clay, you're going to add clay, and you just keep on going. Especially with this witch, this is going to be a long, a long fast forward video. Why can't I find words ever? Time lapse? I mean, it's not technically, it wasn't filmed as a time lapse, but I sped it up like a time lapse. We're gonna call it a time lapse. It's very long because I'm showing every bit of the process of this witch face here. We did, by the way, end up doing a neck and some hands, and you'll see those. I will do an application video as well after this series. So yeah, just keep a lookout for that. The neck is really cool. But yeah, so I just wanted to show you all the different pieces. I'm using all kinds of different tools, switching back and forth, whatever is working best for me. I smoothed all those different sausages together, but some of them got a little bit too smooth, so I did go back in to kind of scoop them out and carve them out some more. Like I said, I just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with all the different tools, textures, carving, building up until I get the look that I'm going for. So I finally got to a good place where I liked the refined form, and I actually took a rake tool you're about to see in just a second. It's got these wiry things at the end. I think I showed it earlier. I don't know. It came with the little set, but I just rake that all over the entire surface. This is going to help get rid of some of those tool marks from where you were carving in and help to smooth the surface. Once I am done using the rake tool all over to smooth it out, I go over it with a solvent. In this particular one on the face, I just used 99% alcohol. I have started using a solution. I mix 99% alcohol with terpenoid paint thinner. I cannot do words today. I mix those about equal parts, and it is a little bit stronger, so just be careful. You don't want to take away everything that you've done, so start slow. I would just start with 99% alcohol, maybe add a little bit of terpenoid if you're feeling brave, you feel like it's not eating up the clay enough, but it sort of breaks down the clay. You see here, there, I did it, and it sort of smooths it out. This whole entire face sculpt from start to finish took about 8 hours over 3 different live streams. Each stream is like 2 hours to 3 hours long, somewhere around in there. But yeah, the next day I started to add texture. I usually like to do the solvent at the end of a stream and come back the next day to sort of give yourself a second look. It's like stepping away from a painting and coming back and being like, not quite right. So I like to do that just before I start adding some final details and texture, just to make sure the form is actually where I want it. But anyway, now you can see where I'm adding the textures. So for the witch, for the old age, I'm doing mostly wrinkles, but I'm adding some pore textures as well. For pore textures through the plastic, I just kind of tap the tool. I can use different things to get different pore shapes. Sometimes they're like circles, sometimes they're like kind of like a little line. I don't know. There's different textures of pores, so I go with different tools to create different wrinkles, different pores, and I really just bounce around until I'm getting a good effect that I like. And the plastic helps to soften these marks. If you go in with the tool straight away, it's just going to carve into it. If you use the plastic, it kind of just like moves the clay and smooths in your indentation that you're making. I hope I'm making sense. That's just the only way I know how to put it. But yeah, that's what I'm doing through the plastic. Sometimes I will double up the plastic to make it a little bit even less noticeable, if that... I feel like I'm not using the right words, but you get what I'm saying, right? You can see what I'm doing right there. But the plastic definitely helps, and I just really start refining this piece. I hope that you just watching what I'm doing is helping, because I feel like that's a lot better than how I'm trying to explain it. But yeah, so once you have your form there and you have it all smoothed out, you add in the textures, and then once you're done with that, you're good to go. One other thing I do want to mention is the edge of the piece where it goes from clay to where it would be your skin, or prosthetic to skin. You want that very thin. You can see at the top, I left mine a little bit bulky up there. I actually did that on purpose for this piece because I wanted it to kind of be like almost like a big wrinkle at the top of her forehead. I don't know, but I'm also going to punch in some hair there. I'll show you all that with the application video. So that doesn't have to blend seamlessly into the skin, but I do make sure all around the cheek and chin area, around the lips, and the eye at the bottom. The eye at the top sort of folds over since it's wrinkly, but anything you want to blend seamlessly into the skin, you do want to make sure that you are blending that very well. Just shave down that edge with one of your tools, smooth it out, just make it as thin as possible so you have a great transition with application. That is very important. But yeah, I had a lot of texture to this piece. She's very wrinkly. Old age sculpting was not the easiest. Oh, I have those little bristle brushes as well. Kind of forgot to mention that. That's what I use to apply the solvent when I'm doing the smoothing of the stuff. But also I use those as I'm sculpting the textures as well, just to kind of knock them down a little bit. Sometimes the brush will shed little bristles into your piece, so just be careful. But I find it a neat little tool to just knock down and smooth out some of the harsher textures that you get. But again, I just bounce around and I just do it until it looks good. So that's all the advice I can give. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep on going. I'll hop back in this voiceover if there's anything that I feel like I need to add to give you, but I'm pretty sure that's like all. That's about it for sculpting. You just kind of go with it, see what works best for you. For some textures, you can actually poke it with the bristle brush as well, and that'll add a little bit of kind of really rough textures as well. And with this being a really old, nasty, gross witch, I wanted it as textured as possible. So it took me a while. Goodness, 8 hours chopped down to like 20-25 minutes is just a lot, but hopefully you got an idea of what I'm doing here. I'm so pleased with how the face turned out. I can't wait to see it painted and applied. Very excited about that. Coming soon. I had a surgery on my wrist, and so I've been kind of putting it off a little bit. I do have the videos of the molding process. I'm going to start editing that for part 2, so you can see how to mold your pieces once you have them sculpted. So hopefully you'll enjoy that information as well. The neck and the hands, I did hand pieces as well. Those were a flat mold, so you'll get to see me do that. But those will just be flat pieces that I kind of glue on the tops of my hands. Hopefully they turn out. Flat molds in foam latex are a little bit kind of odd and difficult, and I've never really seen people do it before, but I just assumed they had because I do it. I mean, it works for me, but it's just a little bit different to run that in foam. I guess I'll show y'all that when the running of the foam begins. But yeah, this is it for the sculpting of this witch face, and I really like how she turned out. I'm very excited. can't wait for y'all to see the entire process and application. This is the first videos of like the whole thing that I'm doing. I feel like, I don't know, I'm just not, with sculpting, it's hard to really teach. It's kind of one of those things where you just kind of learn as you go and figure it out. But I'm going to show some shots showing off the finished piece here at the end of this little sped up clip, and then it'll be the outro. But I love you guys so much, and I hope that you learned something with this little voiceover. Jeez. Alright, so that is how we got here for our witch face. Like I said earlier, we are going to do a neck, some ears, some hands. It's all the same concept. You have a cast or a flat mold, depending on what you're doing. Sculpt what you want, and then you have a thing that you need to mold. So the next step is going to be molding. I will put that in a separate video for you. I'm going to sort of make a video for each step on the process. So that is all for the sculpting bit. You need to have your sculpt, and then we'll mold it, and then we'll run it in foam, and then we'll have a piece that we can paint and do application. So I guess I will just see y'all next time when we mold this puppy. I love you guys so much. I hope I see you next time. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that red subscribe button down below to subscribe to the channel, and give this video a thumbs up if you want to see the other steps. I know you do. You didn't come here just to learn how to sculpt a witch face, right? Come on. Anyway, so stay tuned for part 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then however many parts there's going to be for this. Yeah. Enjoy making makeup stuff. I love you guys so much. I hope I see you next time, or the time after that, or the time after that. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's what I say on Twitch. Go follow my Twitch channel and my Instagram. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. Everything is always makeup. Oh, I'm also on TikTok. Go watch those because they're fun and cringy, like TikTok always is. But, okay, I guess that's all. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.